It was only in 2012 that it became a compulsory entry point to the basic education program in the Philippines. And um, so, as we can see here, it is still in its early stages of implementation, and it's still, of course, it's a constant work in progress. Okay, so the theme of this conference focuses on the importance of achieving education for all. And one of the ways to ensure that is to allow our young learners to have a positive start in their school experience. And that regardless of the diversity in the classroom, their differences may be in their academic readiness, in their language proficiency, in their socioeconomic status, or in their family background or prior experiences, they will still view school as a place where their meaningful learning is encouraged and their strengths are built upon. And of course, this having a class, especially with young learners that are filled with students with different abilities and interests, as a curriculum that is one size fits all, of course, would not be beneficial to the students. It is also dangerous to teach for the middle because if we ignore the differences in the classroom, there will be students who might lose motivation, they might fall behind or fail to succeed. Therefore, teachers really play a significant role in the success of teaching and learning process in the classroom. Teachers are not simply dispensers of knowledge. Instead, they must be organizers of learning opportunities. And one of the ways that is deemed to make this possible is through differentiated instruction. Okay, so it is an instructional approach. It's a way of thinking, it's a philosophy about teaching and learning that allows teachers to develop a detailed understanding of each student's readiness, interests, and modes of learning. Basically, it's a proactive way of teacher to address the needs of their students. So it is guided by the principles of high-quality curriculum, respectful tasks, formative assessment, and safe learning environment. It is also based on a number of learning theories and best practices such as constructivism, multiple intelligence, learning styles, and brain-based researches. Okay, and then Carol Tomlinson, she's she's the main theorist on differentiated instruction, developed a model of differentiated instruction, which Mavidu and Kakana refer to as the two pillars of differentiated instruction. So according to them, we should differentiate instruction based on children's characteristics. We should know about their readiness level, personal interests, and their learning profiles. And through that, we could adjust the curriculum's content, or what is it to be learned, the process or how students acquire information, the product or how students demonstrate learning, and the learning environment or the classroom and how it is designed to meet the needs of the students. And there are also various strategies to make differentiation possible in the classroom. And there have been many studies on differentiated instruction. It's not a novel idea, especially in Western countries, but in the Philippines, it is it's relatively new to us. And most studies usually, they focus on subject areas like mathematics, science, English, and also they focus on elementary, secondary, and tertiary education. But there have been very little or few researches that focuses on early childhood or in kindergarten. Especially in the Philippines, there have been really no studies on it. So, the Department of Education in the Philippines has also released a policy saying that teachers should really incorporate differentiated instruction in their daily lesson planning and preparations. And so that's why, with that, my objective for this study is to describe kindergarten teachers' use of differentiated instruction to address students' needs. Specifically, I want to know how it is promoted in our national kindergarten curriculum. What are the teachers' perceptions and practices with the use of differentiated instruction? And what are the issues and challenges that they face in planning and implementing differentiated instruction? So it's a qualitative study of 5 kindergarten teachers from a public elementary school in Quezon City. I made use of the content analysis and in-depth interviews using a semi-structured questionnaire. I originally wanted to really observe in the classroom, but due to constraints, I wasn't able to do it. But these are rooms for future researches. Each of them were given informed consent. Their interviews were audio recorded and transcribed and analyzed thematically. Okay, so on how, these are the results and discussions based on the 3 objectives. These are how it is, some of the ways that differentiated instruction is manifested in the national kindergarten curriculum in the Philippines. First, we already make use of formative assessment, specifically the ECCD checklist, to know what are the students' abilities at the start of the school year. Okay, so ongoing assessment is one of the important for teachers to understand when making differentiation work in the classroom. And then, if there's also a guide that tells teacher how the daily activity should be implemented in the classroom, and it shows there a balance of whole class instruction, small group activities, and independent activities. And in terms of the teacher's perception, they view instruction, PI, as important and necessary, especially because they also say that their supervisor would call them out if they are noticed not doing it in the classroom. But their view of it is mostly focused on one part of the day wherein they do small groups and they give different activities to their class, to their students. So it seems also that their view of differentiated instruction is limited to the different activities that they provide their students. But as we have seen earlier, it's more comprehensive than that. It does not only refer to the different activities that you provide your students. In terms of their practices, like what I've said earlier, they're able to provide different activities to different small groups. Well, actually, it's technically not small because in a class where we have, it's supposed to be 25, but from my experience, 25 is really big for one teacher. But for them, because of lack of teachers, it also exceeds up to 30 to 35. So when they make small groups, it's not really small. So in terms of the process, even if they didn't think that it's differentiation, but when they talked about it, they are able to differentiate the process when they differentiate the way they support, especially the struggling students. And then, in terms of content and learning environment, there's minimal differentiation and curriculum adjustment. In terms of content, they feel that they are not allowed to go beyond what their curriculum is. They're asked to tell or to teach their students. So they feel they have that lack of, in a way, power to go beyond what is needed of them to be taught. Okay, next. And in terms of learning environment also, the classrooms in the Philippines are not really standardized, but specifically in the classroom where I went to, it's really, really small for the number of students that they have in the class. So, but when it comes to strategies, like what I've said, they do small groups, flexible groupings, and they also tap or engage parents to support the individual progress of the students. And like what I've said, I've already mentioned some of the issues and challenges that somehow does not allow the maximization of the use of differentiated instruction in the classroom, which is the class size, the learning space, the limited learning space and environment, which also eventually affects also the students' behavior. And of course, they have the perceived limit of the curriculum guide, and they have different interpretations in terms of the scope of the curriculum. Okay, so for conclusion and recommendation, differentiated instruction is reflected in the National Kindergarten Curriculum's design, and teachers acknowledge the importance of meeting students' needs. And I think as every teacher it's natural for us to really approach our students based on the level that they are. But I think it's important also to provide more opportunities to advance the kindergarten teachers' conceptual and pedagogical knowledge and skills in implementing differentiated instruction, and also to encourage more collaboration and coordination among kindergarten teachers to maximize differentiated instruction practices. So teachers play a vital role in the success of a differentiated classroom. It is important to align their paradigms with its principles to ensure that the goals of the kindergarten program are properly met and the needs of the learners are well addressed. And understanding how differentiated instruction is practiced will open opportunities to re-examine the design of the curriculum or to enhance strategies that would be more reflective and responsive to the existing limiting conditions in the kindergarten classrooms. Because usually we have this ideals that, oh, the model or the practices of this country is really nice and it seems effective, but we also have these conditions or limits in our class in our own country that we should also be able to acknowledge and address it in appropriately. That's all. Thank you.